Hello, I'm Megan Aspel. Welcome to the Sir Robert McAlpine World Mental Health Day podcast, 10th of October 2019. I'm from Acting Out Productions and have worked in mental health for over 20 years. We've been delivering mental health awareness and personal resilience workshops across sites and offices for around 18 months now. Today I'm going to talk briefly, the subject of mental health is vast, for about 10 minutes or so, asking the questions, what is mental health? What is mental ill health? And how can we recognise it? What can we do to help? What support is there here at Sir Robert McAlpine? And what might we include in our personal mental well-being and resilience toolbox? Each is a section on its own, so you can dip in and out of this podcast. Mental illness hurts. It devastates lives. It costs the UK economy billions. It hits workplace productivity and halts young aspirations. It can affect any one of us, anytime, anywhere, in whatever circumstances we live. Mental illness really is the equal opportunities of health conditions. Mental health and well-being is everyone's business. In the workplace, the emotional and financial toll it can take makes it just as much of a priority as physical health and safety. In this 150th anniversary year, Sir Robert McAlpine is ramping up how it supports mental well-being in the workplace. On this World Mental Health Day, the key message is for people to feel confident in speaking openly about mental health and, crucially, to know that when they do, they will be listened to and taken seriously. What is mental health? We all have physical health and we all have mental health, but the way we think about each can be very different. Think about someone with a physical illness, who may have to go into hospital even. We send get well cards, we visit or phone. Basically, we stay in touch. Does that happen for someone who goes off sick with depression? Rarely, if at all. We either don't know what to do, or it is something beyond us, so we do nothing. Yet every one of us has disappointments, loss, pain and changes in our life that can affect our physical and mental well-being. Mental health problems do not discriminate. We're all vulnerable. What is mental ill health? The harsh fact is that 50% of mental health conditions are established by age 14 and 75% by age 25. As with physical health conditions, mental health conditions can depend on a cocktail of things. Causes of diagnosable mental health problems include genetic, life events such as childhood abuse, trauma, loss, the death of someone close, life-threatening or permanent physical illness, and the left-field issues that can floor us: marriage breakup, debt, redundancy, changes at work or in personal life. The stats tell us that 1 in 4 of us experience a mental health problem at some point in our lives. It is a greater burden on the health service than cancer or cardiovascular disease. The economic cost of mental illness in the workplace alone is over £30 billion. And more young people are experiencing emotional distress. Causes may include social media. You don't leave the bully at the school gates anymore. They're on your smartphone or tablet. There's exam pressures, body image, many different things influencing young lives. And some of those things can lay dormant, yet be activated in our adult lives. Looking specifically at the workplace, there is one cause, or trigger, which isn't a psychiatric disorder in itself, but which can be a major contributor to emotional upset: stress. Coming from the Latin for titan, stress is the way our bodies and minds react to something that feels beyond our control. Unchecked stress can lead to distress or even mental health problems. I know a director of a big international company who tells of the night he woke up thinking he was having a heart attack. Tight chest, difficulty breathing, sweating and frightened, very frightened. It was actually a panic attack. He was later diagnosed with anxiety disorder. There had been signs, but neither he nor colleagues acted upon them. Overarching clue was he was acting out of character. If his escalating stress had been dealt with, he could have prevented something more serious and longer term. But what does mental ill health look like? Well, of course, it's up to a qualified doctor to decide on a specific diagnosis. But symptoms of someone struggling might include confusion, a reduced ability to concentrate, excessive fears or worries, unsubstantiated guilt, mood swings, withdrawal from friends and activities, deep tiredness, low energy, yet with problems sleeping, detached from reality, inability to cope with daily problems. Is there an over-reliance on alcohol or drugs, changes in eating habits, anger, hostility, or even violence in thoughts, if not deeds, may be present. Self-harm, or no feelings at all, just a terrible numbness. And there may be thoughts of suicide that cloud any normal functioning or reason. If you are worried about someone, ask yourself a few questions. Are there changes in appearance and attitudes, in behaviour and mood? Are they going off sick more often, but somehow their reasons seem feeble? Or when at work, they're just not contributing as usual, in the team, on site, getting the job done? What can we do to help? Talking is the first and most powerful action you can take. Perhaps you're thinking, wait a minute, how do I speak to someone I suspect is struggling emotionally or mentally? They're likely to say F off. Well, yes, they might. No one said it was easy. But you can make it work and make mental health matter on your patch. It's about finding the right words. How about starting with, how are you? Think twice, ask twice. Asking how are you and not waiting for an answer is an absolute cop-out. Okay, there's too much happening. Deliveries, site inspections, meetings, paperwork and so on. But think about if someone fell and broke a leg. You wouldn't say, oh, can't deal with you right now, I'll come back in half an hour or when I get round to it. You'd deal with it straight away, of course, and put all jobs on hold. Why should something you can feel isn't right, but you can't see clearly, be any different? Take the plunge and speak to that person. Take them for a cup of tea and a chat, and arrange a better time if you are really up against it with a deadline. Just don't leave them with a mental equivalent of a broken leg. Talking is simple, and it helps. Did you know, for instance, that just 10 minutes talking to someone who is feeling suicidal can change everything? Just imagine how you would feel if you knew you'd helped divert a tragedy. Mental health and well-being in the workplace is about working together. Just as teams and operatives work together on projects, collaborating, understanding and finding solutions, so everyone can create an open environment that promotes and supports good mental well-being. To help you think about having that chat with someone, think T-A-L-K, talk. T is for time. It's a premium for most of us, but 5 minutes now, helping someone in mental distress, can be a time, money and possibly lifesaver in the future. A is for approach. How you start a conversation is vital. Use open questions like, how are you? Oh, you don't seem yourself. Tell me what's happening for you. L is for listening. Listen carefully. Don't judge. And don't say you understand because you may not, or tell someone you know how they feel because you felt the same. You probably haven't. Just listen. K is for kindness. To show empathy and compassion is not a weakness. It is a sign of strength, emotional intelligence and integrity. So what help and support is there at Sir Robert McAlpine? Familiarise yourself with everything that Sir Robert McAlpine offers across sites and offices. Ask your HR business partners, manager and mental health first aiders for more information about the Employee Assistance Programme, for instance. advice on many of the things that underlie the danger of becoming mentally unwell: debt, financial worries, general health. And the private medical insurance scheme now includes psychiatric support. And there's a whole range of practical and well-being benefits you can find through the SRM Reward Hub. Find out more via the intranet. And coming soon, there is a Head of Health and Wellbeing. All this and more demonstrates Sir Robert McAlpine's dedicated commitment to supporting its people. But what about your own well-being? And what would you put in your mental well-being toolbox? Have a think about yourself as a well-being reservoir. A full reservoir means good health and happiness. An empty reservoir means, well, empty. But that emptiness can leave you vulnerable to all kinds of things, both mental and physical. Keeping the reservoir as full as possible maintains mind and body equilibrium. The first thing to do is decide what's important to you in your personal well-being reservoir. After this broadcast, or now if you're bored, write down those things that are essential or desirable to enable you to keep your well-being reservoir well stocked. And equally important, what are the things that empty the reservoir? Look at your list. Think of ways of maintaining your personal levels of wellness. So what is in your mental well-being toolbox? A few tools to include might be to connect with others. Every mate you have started as someone you didn't know. Strike up a conversation with someone you see around. They might be a total legend. Keep learning. Depending on time, watch some TED Talks, do an online course and discover something else you're good at. Read your country's history. Just read. Be active. No time? Plank for a minute. More time? Make it to the gym. Okay, it sounds silly saying be active to someone on a construction site, but there's activity that's work and there's activity that's time out. Help others. From a brief how are you to the supermarket checkout person, or volunteering for a charity, helping others raises our own serotonin levels, and that's the happy hormone. Take notice of what you're feeling, thinking. Take 5 and stop and breathe deeply from your diaphragm. Whatever you're doing out of work, stay in the moment and absorb the sights and sounds around you, and discover what it is that helps you. It might be mindfulness. Search the internet for suggestions or set up a mindfulness group yourself. But it might also be a walk with the dog, a new sport, playing a video game with the kids, dancing to your favourite music, singing your favourite songs, generally doing what makes you tick. But what about when things go wrong and the foundations that define you and the steels that support you crumble and that reservoir looks pretty drained? What then? That is the most important time to open up and to talk, and to give whatever has happened or is troubling you the importance, the air it deserves and needs. Make an appointment with your GP. Speak to a mental health first aider. They have a badge on their PPE hat, or phone the Employee Assistance Programme. Find someone independent you feel you can trust with whatever it is you are going through. Don't feel alone. There is help and support nearby. And just to everyone, there is no magic wand when it comes to helping someone you suspect or know is suffering mental health problems. Just trust in your instincts, and you can help Sir Robert McAlpine make every day Mental Health and Safety Day. Thank you for listening.